We created our first Unity Store asset pack. It's completely free, 100 quality, handcrafted fantasy characters, and each is fully animated. In this video, we'll show the process we went through to create this large cast of colorful characters. From coming up with ideas to actually publishing on the incredible and vast asset store. Then we'll dive into the creation process of a small strategy game that makes use of these characters. This will hopefully give you some inspiration on how to use these monsters, heroes, and mechs so you can begin designing your own experiences. Now, creating 100 characters and animating them seemed a little tricky, but this was also a great opportunity to have fun and test my character design skills. Almost from the start, I knew I wanted different factions. For example, the undead or the lizard folk. Each faction would be composed of 10 characters and range from tiny flying critters to large stomping behemoths. I began by designing a sort of warrior class for each faction. If you've watched some of our game arts tutorials, when we create cartoon characters, we go through a 3-step process. First of all, we create a new layer, choose a slightly faded pencil color, and begin the fun and inventive sketching phase. We can stay loose, make quick thumbnails to generate ideas, and use basic shapes like circles, squares, and triangles as starting points. As an experiment, you could try and create 10 characters that are made up of only squares, for example. Just observe how far you can go and how much you can imagine using this extremely simple shape. Often, if we take a seemingly complex object and break it down into circles, squares, and triangles, it becomes a whole lot more clear and less daunting. Another fun experiment to generate character design ideas is to make some random scribbles or wobbly shape, and based on that, create a monster. I often get stuck in comfort zone loops where my characters always have the same form and structure, so this forces me to test new ideas and shapes. After I sketched some characters, I would usually take a break from that to begin phase 2, inking. This is when I create a new layer and draw on top of the messy sketching lines, adding cleaner strokes, a crisper outline. And last but not least, phase 3, coloring. For this asset pack, I went for very vibrant colors, an art style I've used in many of my games over the years. It pops out and feels playful. I really do want to change my artwork and inspirations for future projects, but the goal here was to really create a classic Blackthornprod asset pack. Often subscribers lack some nice artwork to follow a certain tutorial or prototype an experiment, so hopefully this asset pack will fill up that void. The way I see it, there are 2 ways you can use this asset pack. Either you can try and build a commercial game. Another option, if you rather make your own art, is to use this pack for placeholder art. Instead of staring at boring squares and circles, you can have stylish golden warriors and fiery dragons in your prototype until you have time to create your own designs. With that said, after sketching, inking, and coloring all 100 characters, I had to separate each independent body part in a new Photoshop file before exporting it as a PNG into the Unity game engine. I could then slice every sprite in the sprite editor and then start the rather slow and boring task of assembling each character in the scene in preparation for animation. I wanted each character to have an idle, run, and attack animation. Developers would of course be free to make changes to these animations and even create new ones. Once I had my 100 prefabs, it was time to add these to the Unity Asset Store. I was lucky enough to have expert guidance from the Unity Asset Store team, and Cal made the whole back and forth process a real breeze. So to add an asset pack to the store, you can type Start Publishing on the Asset Store, click on this link, and have a quick read. You'll be prompted to head over to the Publisher portal. You'll need to create yourself an account, then you can make a package. Give it a name, this can be changed later, and also choose a category from 2D characters to 3D environments. Now you'll need to upload the package. To do so, you'll need to download the Unity Asset Store Tools pack and install that into your project. You'll find a new window called Asset Store Tools, click on Package Upload. From there, choose your newly made pack, and also choose the folder which contains your assets. It's very important to make a new folder with the name of your company, then create a folder inside of that one with the name of your pack, and finally include every single asset inside of that folder. So I added the 100 character prefabs, but I also had to include the sprites, animations, and even a little demo scene. So once you've picked your folder, we can run a quick validation test, which should help you pinpoint any potential issues with your pack. For example, a bad folder structure or lack of documentation if your pack contains scripts. And finally, you can click on Upload. If everything worked correctly, you'll get some info here, and now you can add a description and some technical details. Always helpful to check out other packs for inspiration, be it for effective summaries or cool screenshot images and trailers. Once all is in order, you can submit the package. So these 100 side view characters can be used for all kinds of different video games, from platformer adventures to perhaps even isometric tactical games. So now that you've seen what it was like building this fantasy character asset pack, let me share with you my journey making a small game using these strange creatures. It's an extremely rough battlefield sketch from my brother Liam that led me down a small rabbit hole. I ended up imagining a simplistic real-time strategy game where you could place characters that would move forward and destroy the enemy's base. Characters would have different abilities ranging from attack and defense to gold and research points. It then beautifies the battlefield a bit. I can never help but add cool polished details such as pop-up animations or even some shader effects. I then continued adding characters to the game. I wanted a large cast of unique creatures you could summon. Of course, I would still only be using a fraction of the 100 possibilities. Initially, we planned the game on being relatively slow and methodical, with only a few characters on the battlefield at any given moment. But then, after playing around with the mechanics, we found that the whole experience was a lot more fun if at a certain point you could become overpowered and summon a tsunami of monsters. Of course, reading this point will require some brainstorming since some early game strategies may lead you to a gloomy early grave, but if you play your cards right, you'll be unstoppable beasts. Since 80% of the artwork for this game came directly from the asset pack, I could focus more on design. Tsunami was made in only 3 short days, felt refreshing not needing to spend countless hours drawing, but instead using that time to craft rule sets and balance battlefields. You can play Tsunami with the link in the description, and again, if you would like to fill your own world with these 100 fantasy characters, then there's another link in the description to download the entire pack for free. Let us know what other type of asset packs you would love to see us create in the future, and hopefully we can make it happen. Perhaps an enormous environments pack, or a huge library of beautifully illustrated cards for your multiplayer CCG. Let us know, every suggestion is highly appreciated. Big thank you to Unity for supporting this project, and with that said, see you all very soon. Cheers.